Hey everybody, welcome to EduMatch. Thank you so much for tuning in for this very special episode. So it is my pleasure to welcome David here from the author of SpyQuest. So David, welcome to EduMatch.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. It's a pleasure to meet you. So I'm going to introduce you a little bit because your bio is it's amazing. So I just wanted to share this with the community. So David is a former law enforcement officer who spent most of his career working undercover and in covert surveillance. He trained fellow officers in tradecraft and survival skills and went on to work alongside UK security services. He also traveled abroad, liaising and collaborating with international intelligence agencies on covert operations. So, drawing from these experiences, he's created SpyQuest, which is an award-winning online interactive game that replicates the excitement and exhilaration that he found from real-life experiences. The Polybius, game studio has established itself as a leader in augmented reality technology and incorporated it into the fabric of the game's storylines. He hired Andy Briggs, Tarzan, to help him write the first SpyQuest novel, Polybius, the Urban Legend, and has now embarked on a new chapter of his career as a professional writer in his own right. Just like the SpyQuest game, his first solo novel, The Cursed Diamond, pushes the boundaries of the publishing industry and immerses readers like never before as they read the book and watch the augmented reality movies at the same time. So that is so awesome, David. It is great to have you here.
No
So
problem.
yeah. So what inspired you to be writing?
Do you know? I think the writing it all gels together. It's everything. The experience. I turned 50 in June, and I think everything from I can trace it back to what we call primary six. So that would be roughly 9 years, 10 years old, or certainly 10, 11. And the books that I used to read, and my favourite books were Nancy Drew, The Hardy Boys, Alfred Hitchcock, and the Three Investigators were my favourite. And that shaped my path on. I just wanted to be a policeman. Although I like to write and I like to read, my whole way through high school, my focus was I want to be a policeman. And it actually took me about 8 years. The police, I wanted to join at 16 and I missed it by a few months or a few weeks and they said, no, we'll stop taking cadets. You have to wait 2.5 years till you're 18. So I waited till I was 18 and a half. I applied again, went through all the interviews, and only to get told, no, you're too young. Go and get some life experience, come back in 3 years' time. And then went back one last try, and it's like the bad penny. I just kept turning up to say, please give me a job. And only this time they had no money. The police have got no money. So it took 2 years before I got in and joined. And for 17 years, I thoroughly enjoyed every single second. It was a phenomenal experience, and working abroad, working covert surveillance, the exhilaration of undercover. And then it's funny how your family, you can't tell people what you're doing, but your family at birthday parties and weddings and functions, they like to corner you and they want to know, but your life seems so much more exciting to than theirs, and they want to ask the questions of where have you been, what have you been doing, and you're not allowed to tell them too much. But then the thought came for, I'd love to share that same. I don't think there's anything that can beat the real life. Imagine you could put that down. Imagine you could, for me, inspiring children to read was one of my biggest the things I want to accomplish. My love of computer games was also what brought SpyQuest about. So I wanted to create a game which mirrored the training process for working undercover. How you could people could play this game, but really you have psychometric testing. You have all sorts of different elements that are put in there. And one of my biggest things in that world was how to immerse people in a storyline where they forgot they were on a training course. So made a game that was built for adults, but we could adapt it for any age group, and you've got the same butterflies in the stomach when you play the game. And then the last bit was I knew that people couldn't play the game. We've got it in hotels and resorts over the world. It's only a lucky few that could go to these big resorts, but the books were always a major part of it. And I thought I want them to be able to read the book and actually see what goes on in the real world, the twists and the turns, but also as we'll go on to the augmented reality, how you can bring things that I saw in that world many years ago before anybody ever heard of Pokemon Go or AR. And as you know, AR has been around for a long time, 25, 30 years anyway. just a gimmick. But I had seen it in the real world and how it could be used, and I wanted to put that into the game and into the books, and that's what I've done.
That is super cool. So your book is the first one I've heard of that uses the AR, along with the book. So that was really cool how you brought in your experience to kind of bring people in. So I'm gonna ask you a little bit about SpyQuest now. If you could just tell us a little bit about it. You touched on it, but what's been the reaction to the series, and what's like a general overview of it?
Oh, yep. So I'm just dropping you slightly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you
Could you
hear the
repeat
last
sorry,
part
that
of that?
last bit, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. I was just asking about like SpyQuest itself.
Yes.
What's been the reaction to SpyQuest?
Oh my goodness, it's to the Spy. I'll start with the SpyQuest game. We developed it and sold the first game in March 2009 to a place called the Gleneagles Hotel, which is one of the UK's big premier 5-star hotels. US presidents, royalty have all stayed there. Gave them the first game and got the reaction. And from then it's been a whirlwind where all of a sudden we're in the Sheraton, the Vistana, the Western hotels, the Starwood, the Four Seasons, Jumeirah Group, and building these games. But the reaction was the same no matter where we went, and which country, which language, which culture. People loved it. And my plan was, it all came from a thing called an arcade machine called Polybius. Now, Polybius was an arcade machine that appeared, it's an urban legend, an American urban legend, which this arcade machine appeared in Oregon around about 1980, 1981, and then just disappeared. And it was my friend in the FBI that told me the story. And at first, I remember two of us sitting playing a game of FIFA all in the middle of an operation where at night time there was nothing to do. And we're sitting, one of us would bring my machine along. And one night we're playing a game of football, and he said, he starts telling me the story about Polybius, or the rumour that it was the CIA that made this games machine, and that children who played it disappeared. I actually thought he was just trying to put me off playing the game, and I'm thinking, no. But then the more we stopped abandoning the game, and I'm looking up YouTube, and I'm seeing this a man who's got 1 million hits on, he's got the graphics for this arcade machine, and then you read the comments underneath, and the comments are from, again, people who used to go to holidays and now adults, all recalling their childhood, how they went to these arcades, Seaside Resort in Portland, and they all talk about the men in black, the men with the black suits, the white shirts, the black ties, the sunglasses, coming to the arcade. And as a child, they didn't know, they didn't really think, why are they going to that, why are they only going to that machine and that machine alone? And then this machine disappears, and nobody knows. No, to this day, if you like Easter eggs, there's not just the chocolate ones, but if you like the Simpsons, have got the Polybius arcade machine in the background of one of the episodes. Roblox, the children's game that they love playing, they've put a Polybius arcade machine in there, an Easter egg to find. And I just loved this thing. I thought, what would the CIA doing? Obviously, the CIA denied it. Every arcade owner has denied it. And the whole thing about SpyQuest came from, okay, you're playing a game somewhere, or you're reading a book. What if you were actually being recruited? What if you were actually, you're playing, you're thrown in at the deep end. So we make it very age appropriate, but I wanted to treat children the same, give them the same feeling, give them the same immersion, give them the same excitement that you could really find. And the reaction has been unbelievable. We struggled to get a book deal because when the agent couldn't describe it very well, and then the second, when the publishers were, AR was just coming in, not just coming in, but the ebooks and the whole publishing world seemed to be turned upside down. And here you have this company come along saying, well, we're really massive in what we've done in education, and we can do this in hotels, and we can do this, this, and this. So we take the reaction, so we self-publish. And when I went to the first, we have Waterstones as our national bookseller, high street bookseller. And when I went to ask them, could I put my book in, would they buy the book for the store? Would they let me have a book signing? I could see the look in their faces where they're thinking, but they didn't want to say no. And then they're saying, yes, okay. So they let us have a book signing, and Andy Briggs had come up. I had Andy come in and help me write the first book. And We had about 700 to 800 people turned up for the first book. Sold 245 books on the day, a queue for 5.5 hours. And it gave everybody a wow. It wasn't until afterwards the manager of the store said, I didn't want to tell you at the time, but the average for book sales is really between about 4 and 6 because you have to be J.K. Rowling before you'll sell over 100. One of our highest ever was Jeff Kinney, 270. So you just missed it by 35 for the record. So I'm a bit competitive. We've now done over 40 book signings around the country. Every store, every Waterstone store, we broke every sales record. We did the biggest, one of the largest ever in the world. We did in Falkirk the end of September. We had over 3,000 people came along. We sold 1,098 books. It's just been phenomenal. And you keep hearing from people, maybe it's just because it's your hometown, maybe it's because it's your home city, maybe it's because your home country. And that's where we've been able to take it all over. We have the games in America, we have the games in Australia and South Africa. Put the books there next is our next target. But to have that amount of people to do that with no marketing budget whatsoever, just from what we do in schools, and for those children, the biggest thing for myself has been the amount of children we've reached who have never bought a book before, who have never, especially boys, but we're 48% girls to boys that play the game and read the book. For the amount of boys that come along who have dragged their parents along and listen to the parents saying, thank you very much, what you've done, I have never seen them. To me, it's a hook. Scottish Book Trust wrote a really nice article about the hook, about using SpyQuest as a hook. And again, it doesn't matter which country. If you can excite a child that they want to read that book, then that's the capture. Yes, we do a lot of schools where we give the game to the school, but once you've got the hook in, a good teacher, a good parent has been able to take that and let it blossom and show them that magical world of having a book and reading a book. I'm hoping not talking too much and going on, but that's been the reaction. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Oh, I can't hear you at the moment.
I apologize. It's my fault. I'm having
no worries.
problems here. But yeah, that is just so that's so exciting. So thank you so much for sharing that. So I know that it's appropriate for like 4th through 8th grade students. So how have you seen educators in their classes using SpyQuest?
SpyQuest is built from the ground up for education. I know my game has been light compared to Pokemon Go in so many ways, and my biggest thing is Pokemon Go was not designed for education. Yes, some educators have used it. SpyQuest and the augmented reality elements, as well as the things that we're working on for the future, eye beacons and different things, has been built for education. It's built because SpyQuest is designed for adults and adapted for children of different ages. So we've worked right through from, there's a white paper written on the educational benefits of SpyQuest by a man called Ollie Bray. Ollie was National Advisor to the Scottish Government on future technologies. He was World Teacher of the Year in 2009. In fact, he was UK, European and World Teacher of the Year in 2009. Ollie wrote a white paper on the educational benefits of using SpyQuest in classes and how it can be adapted and used in different year groups and for transition from one school to another. And we really set about, we provided it for the last 7 years now on a not-for-profit basis to Scottish schools. We have over 250, probably near 300 schools now as partnership schools where we have used it. And the reaction, we've had a 100% retention rate where every school that has it keeps it. And we've been able to not just give them the games that we create, but then open up that they create their own games. And that's where the magic really begins. The fact that the children can play the game and now they read the book, but then being able to create their own storylines. And that all came from before the books, when we gave a school a game, the amount of children, again, lots of children had never done it before, but coming in with their own stories. They'd maybe written 100 words or 200 words, and they come into the teacher saying, I've wrote my own version of what happens next in SpyQuest, or my own characters. And so we've sat and listened and worked personally with these teachers to make sure it did exactly what they wanted it to do. And that's where we now know exactly how the benefits, and we've managed to grow and grow with that. And now we've opened up the ambassador programs, both for America and some other countries around the world. We'll do the exact same thing, just replicate what we did here.
That is so cool. I'm just loving hearing about this and how it's like really engaging the kids and bringing them in and just how effective it is. So that is awesome. So what is on the horizon for you next in terms of SpyQuest or anything else you want to share?
We have a global partnership with the Smithsonian Institute where we can use their artifacts in our storylines. We've agreed that quite a few years ago, and with the Cursed Diamond book, which is the first book in the world that has the augmented reality where you can read the book and watch the movie at the same time. That was just a test for us. Obviously, we broke all these records and all these people coming, but it's the future, the technology that's available and the technology that's coming. We've already been working with Estimo in Poland. Elon Musk is one of the major shareholders there, and working with their iBeacon technology. And the ability, for me, the future, yes, we can do virtual. We have the hotels and resorts where we can spend the money on the virtual reality. But really, for me, the future is going to be mixed reality, where we can take augmented plus things like beacons and turn a whole classroom or a living room or a hall or whatever it is as a portal into a dimension or another place on the planet that we want to take them. So one of the things we're working on just now is to use those beacons, they triangulate, they map your position, and you can actually take them to the vault in the Natural History Museum where the Hope Diamond's been stolen from, and they can wander, they can see all the artifacts, they can tell them information about some of the other diamonds and precious stones. But you take that to one of the other storylines where you take them to the jungle, you're taking them to the pyramids, for the educational side, they don't realise the stealth learning. But for me, that's going to be a huge part. Everything we do has been tied in with the educational side. Obviously, money. Money is probably going to be one of the biggest things, and we've been looking at different ways we've spoke to some of the big publishers, we've offered partnerships, we've offered to give a free game to every school in a global network. We're one of the big publishers, which should reach 24 million children. But for the benefits of those children that they would have got the game, would have been phenomenal. It's amazing how money gets in the way of too many people and too many companies, and we've just not been able to close that over yet. So we know that we've been working, people in the US especially that I've spoke to have been finding it hard to get our books. They've been trying to get Amazon and some of the publishers in Amazon who they'll take 2 weeks delivery. You can only order one book at a time and charge you a fortune. So one of the things we're possibly is looking at is maybe some kind of crowdfunding where we can run off 5,000 or 10,000 books in the US for people that pay through the crowdfunding. They get it cheaper than they would through Amazon. We would manage to get, for our cash flows, we'd manage to get the first lot of books done, and also finding a distributor that we could wear in a warehouse in place. But that's something that we're giving serious thought to at the moment. It's just, how do we get it? We know the demand is been coming loud and clear, and people want to see that type of book. I was in Bologna earlier this year. The organisers, the Bologna Children's Book Fair is the largest book fair in the world. Everybody goes, the publishing world. I was asked to be on an expert panel to show the book, and they showed 5 of my videos that showed the book in action, the children taking it. And the Bookseller magazine put it at number 6 in the top 10 must-see events. And this is where you get the people in the actual industry coming and saying, I didn't even know that technology existed. And then other people on the other flip side is saying, well, the publishing industry, only 3% of children's books make a profit, so we can't possibly commit to spending the money. So other things, we've just sat in the middle of the money for the game supplements the money about how we spend in education, but the publishing side is finding a way to get those books out there and let children experience it. Parents we know will love it, because it marries that side where parents are scared of technology in some ways. It's moving far too quick for them. Being able to sit down with a child and show them the book and actually just show it coming alive and talk through how it works because the biggest thing that the children's going to ask is, how do you do that? And open up that inquisitive mind. So that's really the future. iBeacon Technology, we've just launched in our first resort. We are looking at ways that we're going to combine the beacon with a book, where we can actually give you a family a few beacons where they can be put up anywhere in the house, and you can actually bring that whole place alive within a house. Doesn't matter whereabouts in the world it is.
That is super exciting. Oh my gosh. Like I remember trying to dabble into the world of iBeacons, and it just seems so cool. So I love it. And I wanted to take a second to say hello to people I'm seeing interacting on the YouTube live page. So hello to Rochelle and to Andrea and to William. And Andrea, thank you for sharing about how your middle school students work together with the clues to solve the puzzles. Excellent, excellent. Also wanted to say hello to Mary Alice, who also introduced us, and William and Jamie, I know. So hello to all of our friends.
Yes.
So for anyone who wants to connect with you online, then how can they reach you?
Through social media, we've got at SpyQuest for Twitter, at Goutcher D is my own personal account. We have this Facebook SpyQuest Hub page, which we share a lot of information there from, and also my email, david.goutcher@polybiusgames.com. But if you go through the website, spy-quest.com, there's a link there as well to send us any information or any questions. And we also have the Polybius Games website, which people can access it, and it'll reach me.
That is awesome. I was checking out the website a little earlier today, and I was just like, "Ooh, this is so cool!" So, definitely want to recommend to everybody to check out the website. Definitely contact David. This is amazing. It just blew my mind when I heard about it. So, so thank you so much, David, for being on with us today.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Can I just add one last thing? You have
Sure.
access to people in the education community, and my biggest thing is creating what the educators want. And I realise that as we're coming into America, we're ambassador program. If anybody's interested in being an ambassador and wants to try the game, I'll give you a free game. You try it with your pupils, you tell me what you think, and I'll help build something that do the exact same what we've done in our country, and hopefully we get the exact same results, because I know I can inspire a lot more of your children.
Awesome. Awesome. Yes. So everyone, if you're interested in that, contact David and he will get you all set up. So, so definitely appreciate you being on and sharing with us about this amazing game and novel series that you have created. So awesome. I just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in, as well as everyone who is interacting with us and everyone who will tune in later, because as y'all know, this will be archived as a podcast, and we will be also moving to a video podcast format where it'll be edited and look nice and pretty. So watch out for that. That's going to be coming your way soon. So probably by the time this airs, then that will be the case. So just wanted to remind everyone, we are having a tweet and talk at our regular time tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, and we will be talking about mindfulness, moderated by Nicolette James. So if anyone wants to be on panel, podcasts with an s.edumatch.org/sign up. And if you want to watch, then it's the same bad channel where you are right now. So everybody take care. Thank you for joining and have a great evening.